Hello, welcome to Time to Talk, Time to Market's energy trading podcast, where we break down the latest developments with trading experts and industry leaders. Hello, everybody. We are so excited to welcome today Maria Kitano and Daniel Hernandez from EPEX SPOT. Welcome to Time to Talk. So just before we, move on with all the questions, could you guys give us a little bit of, description of who you are, both personally and professionally, your areas of expertise, focus, and just your stories.
Thank you. Maria, would you like to start?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having us, Paul, Eszter. Great to see you guys like this. As Eszter explained, I am a key account manager or senior key account manager now at EPEX SPOT. I've been at the company for 5.5 years, roughly now. Time flies. Maybe a bit about the background or the areas that I cover as a key account manager are companies that are based in the UK mainly, but also in the Nordics. So Norway, Sweden, and Finland are my areas of focus. Very exciting markets because these are new markets that we have, let's say, launched relatively recently in 2020. So that's a good challenge for me. Maybe more personally, what can I say? I'm Japanese. I'm Japanese and British. So I come from kind of two different backgrounds, but I was born and raised in Japan. And I moved to France 6 years ago, roughly. I'm enjoying this adventure with EPEX Spot, basically almost since I arrived in France. I don't necessarily come from this industry at all, actually. But it's something that I kind of stumbled into and I'm finding very interesting.
Yes, and also thank you very much for the invitation. I think it's something that we're trying to plan for a couple of months. So very happy to be here now. My name is Daniel Hernandez, head of sales Central and Western Europe here at EPEX SPOT. Have been part, for instance, of this wonderful sales team for the last 3 years. And 2 years before, actually, I joined EPEX, also 5 years as Maria. But my first 2 years in the exchange was with operations, more specifically with auctions. So everything related to the auction markets, right, the coupling and so on. So very happy to be here now with you. Before that, actually, I was already working in the industry, more, I would say, supporting companies as a consultant, either looking for European funds or contributing to different type of business models for, I would say, energy-related projects, right? Things that I'm very happy to see now, for example, of different type of assets or new markets coming to reality right now, right? And then more on the personal touch as well. So I'm Mexican, right? Also born and raised, been in Europe for the last 14 years, more or less. Always France. And yes, I had the chance to go a part of my stories here. And then life, right? You found a job, then another job, and voila.
The
15 years
snowball
after,
effect.
I'm still here. I'm very happy. So also, originally, actually, I'm also not part, I would say, of the energy landscape. I had a bachelor in chemistry. So I specialized in chemistry, so a little bit an outsider, but then more than happy that I reoriented my career, I would say, towards the energy world. I think it's quite exciting. So,
Wait, a fun fact about Daniel, and maybe not that many people are aware, but please correct me because I don't know the full story behind it. But is it correctly understood that you also have some sort of experience in the media, maybe radio host or something similar?
True. Yes, correct. Actually, what I was in Toulouse, indeed, many years ago, I think I would say probably like 10 years ago, indeed, I was co-hosting and also producing a radio emission every Wednesday. We got a 1 hour, 2 hour emission on FM in a radio station in France, indeed. So the aim of the program was, I would say, the cultural relationships between France and Latin America. So nothing related, I would say, to this industry. It was much more, I would say, cultural, arts, history, cinema, music. So Toulouse is a quite active pole, I would say, in the relationships with Latin America for the universities that are there. So it was interesting. But yes, indeed, actually, I spent 2 years pretty much every week working in that.
I just want to say both of you have such an amazing background and so interesting, so different, and so multicultural that it's just really amazing to see, you know, where our history kind of brings us today to this mutual field in the energy industry.
Can I shoot a question here? Maria, you mentioned, of course, that you are doing the UK markets. We know from working with you that you also did previously the Swiss markets, and now you're looking then at Sweden, Norway, and Finland. That must be different. I mean, it's a new market still, or relatively new market for EPEX. I guess the profile of the participants are different. Can you tell us a bit about that? How is it for EPEX, this new market, and how do you experience the clients? Are they different focus, different way of working?
So indeed, I did start out by covering the Swiss market. Also a very interesting one, a unique one. Let's say the outlier when you look at the rest of the EPEX markets, because it's not part of the SIDC, SDAC, market coupling, right? So the Swiss market, UK market, both are now in this case because of Brexit, obviously, as well. So in that way, it's quite interesting from EPEX's perspective, because those are the markets where we can tend to innovate the most, because we can come out with products that we don't necessarily have to put through the market coupling scheme, right, and cooperation. So we tend to have faster times to markets for different products there, and we can also discuss a lot with our client bases there and take on their feedbacks and try different things. So that's very interesting. Yeah, in terms of the Nordics, for sure, this is a new challenge for me, a new type of it's like characters, personalities as well. I think for sure, Norway, Sweden, Finland, even if it's Nordics, they're all very individually different as well, and they prefer different approaches. And let's say in the last year, I've been able to, by attending many events in those areas, gotten to know better how everything works and how they like to interact. So yeah, it's been a good challenge, and I think we're slowly gaining a foothold there. Our volumes have increased quite nicely too, especially in the last year. We had a lot of interest, not only from those market participants in the Nordics, but also from the CWE clients wanting to expand to the Nordics. I think this has been a key change as well. So I'm not only, of course, working with the client space there, but also our CWE clients trying to go and expand their activities there. So yeah, lots of challenges and interesting topics to cover there.
One other question. We recently had other talks as well on our Time2Talk podcast with TSOs, regulators, other exchanges, and one topic that often came up was flexibility and the need for flexibility in the new system where baseload power production is not so much of a case. It's more on all the renewable penetration, obviously. And I don't know if Maria or Daniel, if you want to take this one, but what is EPEX's view on the increased renewable penetration, the need for flexibility, and are you also looking at products that can offer these services towards your market participants?
For instance, actually, indeed, it's something that we have witnessed, right? Of course, in the last couple of years, there are more renewable penetration, flexible assets. Of course, it's a trend, I would say, on the day ahead, and even in every auction, right? Also, something that we have done at EPEX is to create products to facilitate this integration, right? So the improvement also for trading tools have also contributed to ease this integration. No? For example, we were commenting on the UK market specifically. I think that we have seen how now batteries or more batteries have been traded since beginning of 2023 in the wholesale market, especially, for example, in the afternoon auctions in the UK market. Those that have a lower granularity than early products, right? More traded, I would say, in 30-minute windows. So it's something that we're already witnessing, right? So again, the more liquidity that we have, that allows us, I would say, to innovate in these products and also continue easing the integration of this type of assets. Then in the intraday continues as well. I think that the increase of liquidity and has also eased, I would say, the integration of these renewables. And now actually that we have different granularities arriving, right? I think that there's quite a big trend of having not only hourly products, right? Not only for the day ahead market, or intraday continues for some of the countries already a reality, right? That you have either 30-minute products or 15-minute products. All this also is the contribution of the renewables, right? So I think that on the power markets, it's already a reality, right? Again, it's something that we witness. But nevertheless, also we are developing flexibility markets, right, on EPEX. Actually, it's part of the diversification of the core business, right? Of course, EPEX core business is still power, but also we have initiatives, I would say, that cover, so that are dealing much more with more direct impact, I would say, in flexibility. For example, we have a trading system that is exclusively for that purpose, I would say, to support system operators, either TSOs or DSOs, all around Europe, I would say. And for example, we have a very successful case, I would say. We started a partnership with UKPN in the Greater London area, at DNO in the UK since beginning of the year. And as of April, May, actually, we're already servicing them, providing day ahead auctions, long-term also procurements for flexibility. And we have helped them also to increase their member base and so on. EPEX is also operating these markets. And of course, our intention is not to stop only there. Actually, of course, this is something that we can support other jurisdictions, right, or other countries. So not only the UK, also we try to participate in this type of initiatives all around Europe. But yes, indeed, as you said, it's already a reality. And I think that the trend is that it will continue increasing, right, year after year, with more renewable integration and again, more flexible assets such as like batteries, right, or other technologies such as like demand response and so on. So yes, EPEX is, I think, very comfortable either providing innovation, providing the technology, and also contributing, I would say, because, for instance, flexibility market sometimes needs a little bit of help, I would say, with the standardization of the products, right? So I think that is something that EPEX can do very well. I would say contributing into that. So more than happy to support these challenges, I would say.
Like Daniel mentioned, innovation is at the core of kind of what we do at EPEX. It's really our point of difference that we try to bring to our clients. And other projects that we've launched recently, also relevant, especially for the Nordics, has been the GEOs market, for example. This is something that we launched, I think, 2 years ago now. And it's built up quite nicely. I think over 70 participants now, and we cover different technologies, renewable technologies, so wind, solar, hydro, and hydro being a big one, especially for the Nordics, right? And more recently, nuclear too, as a new technology, thanks to the building up of these auctions that we'd have monthly. We've been able to create also a price reference that is used now also in the OTC market, right? Which is much appreciated. Yeah, we really see the market maturing in the last year mainly. And we are also looking to now launch 2 auctions, for example, every month, so that there are even more frequent price signals that are useful for everyone. And especially a trend that's coming for the geos is that the CSRD reporting for corporates will become kind of mandatory from January. There are stricter regulations around this that they need to then cope with. So then this creates again an additional demand for geos, and yeah, we've seen this new trend of corporates also being interested in the market. Especially when we look at the attendees from our last webinar, for example. So those are very exciting areas.
Thank you, Maria. And you mentioned something on the reporting, and that made me think about another topic we spoke about a while back, which of course now is integrated, the REMIT II obligations for market participants. I went live on, I believe, the 8th of November. What is your standpoint, what have you seen on EPEX side? What happened in the market? Was there a lot of concern? Were there a lot of issues, or that they all enter smoothly? What is it that you saw?
Yeah, I mean, the new REMIT II, of course, included lots of new updates, right, relating to algorithms and how clients need to report on their strategies for this, for example, which is something that EPEX has always covered actually in our market rules. So for our clients, let's say this was nothing really new. And then there are other things which are a little more challenging. For example, which I think you guys are fully aware of, obviously helping clients to onboard and to be compliant with everything, which is the third country requirement, right? So if you're not based in the EU, if you're based in, for example, the UK, Switzerland, good examples. Many of our clients are based there. Actually, it's I think top 2, 3 for where our clients come from. Or in the US or wherever else, you need to have a single representative in the EU, in the EU country that you're trading. So this is a new rule that's come into place since the 7th of November. And it was a challenge for sure to help our clients become compliant.
I think we had this product in the past, as Maria said, and actually an interesting fact, if I may, to add on that, for example, you know that this type of reporting is not really needed, for example, for the UK market, right, especially after the Brexit. However, actually, at the beginning or right after the Brexit, we decommissioned that service, right, because we thought like, okay, this report is not needed anymore. But actually, these reports are quite interesting because actually it's like your blueprint, right? Actually, your fingerprint, actually, or your daily activity in any market. So there are still many clients because actually we continue offer this type of reports. In this case, for example, for the UK, because the client asked us to continue producing these reports for them. That, of course, they are not for regulatory purposes, right? But actually, they are quite useful for other functions like reconciliation, right, for the scaling and so on. So interesting fact that actually we wanted to simplify products and so on, but actually the clients were like, no, please don't decommission that because actually it's quite useful. So indeed, we continue providing this type of reports, again, not only for regulatory purposes, but also, for example, we still do it for the UK because it has become like a reference for many UK clients, actually. So this is a fun fact that we continue offering this type of products, I would say, for them on a daily basis.
It's a nice compliment to get, that they still want to use your service for a specific report while it's not required anymore by the regulations. Daniel, you had another point when we were talking about flexibility, renewables. You were mentioning the granularity. And of course, Q1 2025, day-ahead auctions in Europe will not only be on an hourly level, but also will support higher granularities. What are your expectations there on how will the integration go? What is the market saying? What are they concerned about? How are your systems ready for this integration? Can you walk us through?
Yes. I think that the change won't happen, especially at least for auctions, not anymore in Q1 2025. I think that now we're targeting at least Q2 2025, actually. And then, indeed, I think that it was quite a big impact for the market, right? So not only for the market players, I think that it has been for everyone, right? For the exchanges, for the system operators, because actually everything is impacted, right?
Service providers, yeah.
Yes, indeed. But again, challenge brings opportunities, indeed. So, for instance, EPEX is, and it will be ready, of course, to enable this change. There's a technology actually that we use already for the pan-European intraday auctions, for example, right? The pan-European intraday auctions. I would say you can trade, or we have couple markets, I would say, that have different granularities, right? So our orders are able already to match, I would say, 30-minute products with 15-minute products with another jurisdiction. But now, of course, the 15-minute time unit project actually aims to have multiple granularities in the same region, right, or in the same market, being combined again with multiple granularities in other markets. So indeed, actually, we have the technology to enable that when the project will go live. And then the market, I think that there's quite of an interest because indeed for them, the way that they were submitting the information will change, right? Of course, I think that everyone was used to have these 60-minute indexes, right? That were used to either settle contracts or for many different purposes, right? But now I think that the key has been to be as transparent as possible, right? Of course, communicating with them, trying to provide either member communications, webinars, following this closely to facilitate the transition and explaining them exactly what's going to change, what the impacts will be, at least I would say from our perspective, right? And then providing the enough trainings, I would say, to make them feel more comfortable. But I think that indeed there's quite an excitement. But and at the end, of course, I think that coming back to the topic, I think it will continue favoring the arrival of new type of assets, right? Or facilitating, I would say, this integration. So in the overall, I think that of course it has been challenging, but I think it's quite exciting because it will bring more opportunities again. And if this allows us also to continue innovating in other type of projects to capitalize this, so definitely we will do it.
Yeah, and I think maybe it's a little bit of history as well. For example, the 15-minute products in CWE in Germany, for example, that where we started with was actually something that we brought forward based on client feedbacks way back in, I can't remember the year, 2000, is it 10? But indeed, it's always been something that, again, came from clients we wanted to implement and have been kind of at the forefront of. And now it's good to see that this is going to be implemented in the market coupling level to benefit all these changes with the renewable assets being integrated into the system. And maybe one more thing to mention, the 60-minute price reference obviously will still be published, right? So we will still have this index for those that need it for their contracts.
So you run it already for a long time, of course, but now the question was specifically towards the integration in the day-ahead market, of course, where these high granularities will be offered.
Yeah, indeed. And it's great to see, I mean, these products coming also live in the, again, I always come from the Nordics perspective too, but in these markets, let's say the intraday continuous markets also, we're on 60-minute granularity, whereas most of the rest of Europe have been on 50-minute or 30-minute granularity. So that will be a really interesting thing to see how that helps maybe liquidity develop or different players trading more on the intraday continuous market as well. So yeah, looking forward to seeing those impacts of this evolution.
One other question. We recently also had an event in the Netherlands where we looked at the new market registrations, and we called it the rise of the speculative spot trader, because what we see in time to market while supporting our clients is there is just a heavy increase of how many people want to spec trade, just assetless spec trading, who want to make money in the physical spot markets, in the power markets, who want to utilize the volatility there to make the market more efficient, obviously, but also make some money. What do you see now, basically, in the last year or so, where it's when you look back over whole 24? What is it that you have seen? Is it also what we have seen as time to market, the rise of the speculative spot trader, or is it overdone to state it like that and things are as usual?
Of course, after the different phenomena, right, that we have had in the last couple of years, so the pandemic, the crisis, and so on, I think that indeed there has been more volatility in the market, right? So on the one hand, of course, it attracted a different type of players, but also I think that something to highlight is that we have a very well diversified portfolio, I would say, of trading members, right? Of course, there's a big interest of assetless traders, I think is the term actually that we can use in the exchange to refer to these companies. At the end, from our perspective, we do not really do a lot of difference, I would say. Every market player is treated in the same way, right? Following the same market rules. So I think on EPEX, what we try to do, I would say, is to provide a good and robust infrastructure for everyone, right? So actually, of course, or the challenging part, I would say, that we try to, of course, to meet the needs of all these different, I would say, diversified portfolio of clients. Could be either small, big, financial, not financial, utilities, and so on, right? To provide a secure environment, I would say, to allow them to trade in the best manner possible. And then on the other hand, of course, this has broad opportunities for us, for example, to either improve the robustness of our systems, right? I think that especially for the intraday continuous market, right? Because, for example, this is what I think that this type of players that you mentioned are looking for. So in this, that I think to keep our servers, I would say, up and running with no failures, right? I think that EPEX has been very good at that. I think with overall more than 99.9% of up running servers. So that's quite good. And on the other hand, also, we try to put safety measures, right? Of course, in order to protect the market, of course, for now, more algorithms and so on, and to facilitate this transition, and also creating other type of offers. For example, on the one hand, improving our APIs, for example, on this one, and also developing list lines and collocation, right? Also because there are some players that either would like to be closer or be faster, I would say, in the way to connect to the trading system. But not only that, actually, also there are other players that actually their interest is also to have a secure connection only, right? Probably they do care a little bit less about the speed, but that has allowed us, I would say, to prepare or to have more offers on more different type of products, again, to meet the needs of every type of player. And of course, then the non-energy parties or the assetless traders, they are not the exception.
But so you have not experienced an unusual high number of entries these past 2 years? Is that the conclusion?
Yes, indeed, but not only from this type of players, I would say. Again, I think that the pipeline is quite healthy. For example, in 2023, we have onboarded more than 60 members, for instance. I think that this year it's going to be pretty much the same by the end of the year. And then the pipeline that we have is still of companies that are willing to join. It's like serious prospects, I would say more than 100. So indeed, it's quite dynamic, and there are regulations, right, that are changing in different jurisdictions. So for example, in the UK market now, other type of companies can join the wholesale market and so on. So it's quite dynamic. And again, it could be asset related or flexible assets or non-physical players. I think that what is very reassuring, I would say, that still we see all this type of diversified portfolio creating interest to trade the wholesale market. So I think indeed exciting times. I don't know, Maria, if you would like to complement.
No, I totally agree with you, and I think one thing that is a trend or is a new challenge that we also have to meet is that indeed maybe these bigger hedge funds or financial players they also don't necessarily have the same knowledge of the spot market, right? So then indeed the amount of information that we need to help them with and to support them through the different processes, right? Getting a BRP and understanding the fundamentals of market coupling, things like this. So this is definitely something that we see with these new types of, let's say, assetless traders in the last years that were attracted by, let's say, the volatility in the market.
So just to add on this question, how do you deal with such parties who maybe don't have such an extensive experience in the energy industry, but and have you had maybe any cases where some maybe new entries in the industry have tried, but then maybe decided actually it's not something for them? What is this that you see from your angle?
I mean, for me, we try to support them from the very beginning. We organize many calls for sure, even visits, even though they're still prospects, and trying to share content that we've already, for example, presented in the past too about everything to do with the market. You also need to pass the traders exam, right, to become a trading client at EPEX. So this is, for example, some training material that they would also receive to make sure that they understand the risks and are going to be trading responsibly. And then on the other hand, let's say we need to also make sure as EPEX to be fully equipped to meet all of their needs, because they are also coming from financial markets. Their standards, let's say, in terms of setup are also, let's say, demanding, but in a good way. Yes. And it also really encourages us to step up in every way that we can. So this is where, like Daniel mentioned, the lease lines offers are very important. The collocation, having the latest API and highest performance, right? So all these things are very key for such players, and this is what we obviously with our partners, Deutsche Börse, for example, that is in the financial markets. This is a great partner to have because they can ensure that we are able to meet their needs on these levels.
So you see by this increased interest of new type of participants that you are forced to put enough resources in developing your systems properly to support high frequency trading.
I think that it kind of confirms the trends that we have seen, right? Because also, I mean, from the group perspective, I think we're aware, right, about these trends, and so of course, this is not new, right? I think this is something also that there was already, I would say, in the roadmaps, right? Of course, indeed, probably it helped us to speed up or reprioritize one project or another, but I think that in overall, something that EPEX tries to do, I would say, is to really lead on innovation. I think that not only with this, but we're always, I would say, try to be closer to the client, right? We have many calls, I would say, with the different members, their prospects. We also have, for example, innovation workshops. And there has been one recently, for example, in Düsseldorf, which is really about the products, about the innovation, right? So we really try to listen and then to develop, right? I think that EPEX is something that we like to do, right? It is part, I would say, for premium services. I think that we like to be on top of everything. So force, yes, no, right? But at the end, I think it's offer and demand, right? I think that we like to propose, of course, robust systems, a good service. Of course, we try to have a very nice feedback from everywhere, right? And again, we have wonderful teams, luckily, of course, within EPEX, and I think that we are ready, I would say, to meet these challenges and to try to propose something meaningful, right? Because at the end, I think this is what will favor the everything, right? This if you provide good systems, if you provide a safe environment, I would say, for these clients also to develop, it will bring more liquidity, will allow also then more, I would say, complex assets to participate in the market and so on. So we really see it, I would say, as a virtuous circle in the overall.
Just a small point on the increase of market complexity with the 15-minute products moving from 60 minutes to 15 minutes. Obviously, this multiplies the number of contracts you see on the screen, right? And as everything goes more quickly, you do need the technology, no matter if you're an asset-backed trader or not, to use APIs to help automate certain parts of the process so that you can, keep up with indeed a little more complex market than it used to be. So obviously we are encouraged by these highly technical types of traders, but also it's not only for them, it's also for the other types of trading participants that are trying to trade in the most efficient manner with all the new changes and developments that are coming.
I think we're slowly rounding up our conversation. And one question I always like to ask to the guests is, what are your concerns, or what do you think that the biggest challenges are going to be for next year?
I think as you already mentioned, we have this tremendous, enormous project, I would say, which is 15-minute granularities, I would say, in the ZUC. In the single day ahead market coupling, right? I think that again on this one we try to facilitate the path, I would say, for the members towards that, right? I think indeed Europe-wide that will be the biggest challenge I think that I can see. For us, I would say that we are improving systems, right? Of course, to cope with that. So also it's exciting, right? Because actually we're having very nice upgrades, I would say, in our systems that also, of course, are challenges, right? But I think that it will prepare us for the future, so not only for next year. And then other than that, I think that it will be interesting to see how other markets develop, right? Like, for example, the guarantees of origin, again, as Maria mentioned, is quite dynamic. We have still initiatives that we would like to be on, right? To participate also for the flexibility markets. So I think this is also good. There are some other offers that, for example, we haven't commented on, but that actually are also very interesting. Like we provide different type of indexes, I would say, for renewable technologies, either for solar, for wind, the dynamic pricing, I would say, for example, from the market data perspective, there are, I would say, many open fields, right? I think that the everything is also something that we would like to develop. And for example, also something challenging is that we try to grow also as fast as we can in order to cope with that. For instance, very happy also that the teams are growing, right? We have more and more, I would say, people either, for example, dedicated to one single commodity or for a specific region in a given markets, right? So also for us, it's a little bit challenging. So I guess as for you, right, I think that we got it together at this huge pipeline, I would say, of interest. And then your intention, of course, is to keep providing an excellent service, right? So it's how to balance that. I think that's the tipping point, I would say, to find this equilibrium is what makes it interesting, and also more than glad, of course, to collaborate, because again, at the end, I think it contributes for a greater end at the end. But again, it sounds very positive, but indeed it's quite challenging, right?
Absolutely.
But it's a mutual challenge, I would say. Together we do this for the participants.
I just wanted to ask you, so soon we are all preparing for eWorld. Will we see you there?
Of course.
Obviously, we will be there with the full force. EPEX. Yes. I think our stand will also be at the usual place. I don't remember the hall number.
We always
where we
forget.
always are.
Amazing.
And looking forward to seeing you guys there too.
I think also probably for your audience, right? Of course, if they would like to meet us, eWorld provides this framework, right, of having these very well organized meetings at the different stands and so on. But at the end, we're always available, I would say, to exchange, to meet, to connect people, right? I think that at the end, the exchange and our members, we always also try to help them, I would say, to develop, to grow. So also more than happy to connect with other companies that are maybe interested to join us for any of our markets, right?
And just for those, listeners who are not aware of what eWorld is, we tend to forget, of course, we have listeners who are maybe just preparing for a new entry going forward. But eWorld is the place where, the whole industry gathers once a year. So people, if you want to get your network up and running and to get multiple, to meet multiple people, both from exchange side, us, time to market, there are also a lot of TSOs, both on the gas and the power side. This is the place to be, really. With this thought, from my end, I just would like to thank you so much, the superstars of EPEX SPOT, for saying yes to our request and just joining us on this episode of Time to Talk. We are really, really happy that you could make it. We could all make it today. Paul, would you have a last final thought?
I would just say, Daniel and Maria, thank you very much for being here, for having a nice chat today. We really look forward continuing the cooperation together and seeing you at eWorld for definitely a drink or two, I guess.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Have a nice day.
Thanks to your audience.